Hey guys, welcome to the premiere of Short Rest, a show where we talk all things Dungeons and Dragons. Yes, our bot isn't working properly. We know that now. But what is a new show without some hiccups, right?
True.
Um, so, Daniel, let's do our announcements.
Yes, so short rest always begins with announcements. And so for Ink and Lyre, we want to announce that this is Cleric Month.
It is
So,
Cleric Month.
yes, so if you're following us on Instagram and Patreon, you know that we are releasing cleric divine based content this month. And specifically today, we just released the planar domain. I want to tell you a little bit about that. It is a subclass for clerics, their domain, based around extraplanar travel. So to the Feywild and to the Shadowfell and that sort of thing. A really cool class. I'm really proud of it. And you can find that on our Patreon at patreon.com/inkandlyre. And you can see a little bit of it on Instagram, some of the art and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, Speaking of Cleric Month, Lauren, tell me about your spiritual weapon.
My spiritual weapon. So let me show off our t-shirt for just a minute here. Let me model a little bit. Ask me about my spiritual weapon. That is our t-shirt for the Lord and Lady tier on Patreon this month. You can get it 2 months before anyone else, and we have a ton of other t-shirts that we have on our store at inkandlyre.com. This is actually one of them. This one's not in the store yet. Again, when you're on the Lord and Lady tier, you get access 2 months early. But this is Daniel's favorite, the no backup character shirt.
It's a mindset. Like, that's how you play the game. No backup characters. Full investment in the character you have. Sure.
So, like, my actual spiritual weapon wise, though, if I had one, so I used to play Dynasty Warriors a lot, and I go way back. And I didn't play the first and second one, but I played 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and of course 9. It's like the Fast and the Furious. There's so many of them.
Sure.
But in that game, there was and I hope I say it right because the names are hard to say. Xiao, Chow. There were two sisters. I know, it's like you don't know. There were two sisters who had like weapon fans. So my spiritual weapon would be these kind of like blade fans, and I would send them out and murder masses with my blade fans.
Nice.
That would be my spiritual weapon if I had one.
Yes.
And if I was a cleric, yes.
We love spiritual weapons, and they're terrific, and they're part of our entire Cleric Month. So you can go check out all that content.
Because that's the question that you always ask as a DM. Like, okay, what does your spiritual weapon look like? So
yeah. So let's get into this. So short rest. This is obviously our first episode. So we're gonna tell you a little bit about it and kind of what we do. So short rest is we're going to talk a little bit about D&D. We're going to talk a little bit about Ink and Lyre. Hopefully we'll get to talk to you guys some through the chat. And we're really going to just talk about everything. So today, what we want to do is we want to tell you about all the shows that are coming to Ink and Lyre TV.
Yes, because we're launching quite a bit.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But there are 3 shows, this being the first, called Short Rest. We're also having Iron Valor and then Fate's End as well. So, oh yeah, you can see cool stuff.
Fate's End over here. And then there's this mysterious blank one that has yet to be revealed.
That's true. So to start out, we're gonna start with Short Rest. So what is this? And Lauren, kind of give us a example of what we can expect from Short Rest.
So for those of you who have been with us from the very beginning, we actually started a podcast. And we basically talked about everything Dungeons and Dragons, things that were going on in the community. We talked about, conventions and new releases, lots of geeky-centric content. And that's what Short Rest really is. It's like a reprised version of our podcast, except we're going to be talking about geek culture, of course, but then we're also going to be talking about all of our shows. So we're going to be talking about like highlights from Iron Valor for the week, and then of course we're going to be talking about Fate's End and interviewing some of our cast members and talking them through some of like the emotional aspects of what their character has been through that week, or decisions that they have to make and like what they might do next or what they're feeling. So it's really that in-depth more in depth than the podcast, and more content focused on the Twitch streams that we're going to be putting forward.
Yeah, and it's going to be a fun little show, and we hope that we'll get to explore lots of different topics, and we'll get to see, like, we hope to do an episode on the new Icewind Dale when that comes out.
Yes, because that's coming out.
Yeah, we'll do episodes on that whenever we release new subclasses. We'll do that sort of thing, and most importantly, we want to have some guests on this show. So there are some people that exist in the community that we want to have on the show, have them talk about their products and what they're making and what's going on in their lives, and we want to share their stories with you if we can. So from time to time you'll see some interviews.
Yeah,
like we have some people that we want to get in, that people that want to promote stuff. Anyone who is doing anything that we think you might be interested in. So that's very, very likely that you'll see that. And very, very close, we're going to have some of our cast members as well, specifically from Fate's End and Iron Valor, and have them tell you a little bit about themselves and their characters. Yeah,
and like more about themselves too as well, like a little bit about their background and why they're on our show, why we decided to pick them, and they made the cut. So
absolutely. So to wrap up Short Rest, Lauren, tell us a little bit about how all of our viewers and everyone who's watching right now, how can they interact with Short Rest? Like what do we want from this, and what's on the table as far as how they can interact with what we're doing now?
So one of the big differences about Short Rest and the podcast is previously we would send questions out and we would answer them on our podcast, but we want to do that live now. So, we want to hear from you in the chat, on our Discord, our private Discord for Patreon, of course on Instagram. Any questions that you have, like, we want to answer them. And so at the end of every show, we were doing a mailbag segment, very similar to the podcast. Again, those of you that listened, I don't know if I'm going to be as sing-songy yet. Like, there's some nerves over here, but because usually I'm very sing-songy when I do the mailbag introduction. But yes, we want to answer your questions, and we want to get to know you guys better. We feel like we haven't really gotten a chance to do that as much, and now that we have Short Rest, you get to know us better, and we get to know you better, and yeah, I think make us we're people, we're personable. So yeah.
So tonight, while everyone is watching the show, we want you guys to ask us anything that you have questions about, either Short Rest, Iron Valor, or Fate's End. Mm-hmm. So if you have any questions as we're going through this, and you think of something, just put it in the chat. We're gonna roll through. We're gonna come back to this point and kind of get an idea of what those are and answer those, because chances are, if you got those questions, a lot of other people do too.
Yeah.
And we want to make sure that you know what to expect from Ink and Lyre TV.
We're very laid back over here.
Yeah. So that's Short Rest. What are we talking about next, Lauren?
So the next show is this is Daniel's baby. This is his baby. His little baby.
So Luke is my baby. He's 3. He's in bed.
But
yes.
We're going to talk about Iron Valor for a little bit. So do you want to just jump in? For those of you who haven't seen it, do you want to just jump in and show them the trailer for Iron Valor?
Absolutely. Let's do that first. So,
all right.
Coming up here is the opening trailer for Iron Valor. Ooh, that cutaway right at the end.
Daniel loves the end where it's like whoosh.
I love that. It's like it's all rusted and red, and they just whoo, gone. And I love that so much.
So we had a comment that we didn't mention our drinks. That is very true, very true. We usually at the beginning of our podcast we would announce what we were drinking. I am ashamed to say though I am only drinking water, and the the green screen is making it. I'm sorry, the mystical tavern that we're in is making it disappear somewhat. It's a magical water. But
it's actually green water. You guys just don't know. It's an Irish car bomb. No, I'm having Sam Adams because that's what I'm drinking.
Oh
tonight.
yeah, and Daniel had told you guys on the podcast about his drinking his ale horn.
Ale horn.
There it is. Isn't it beautiful?
Birthday present, going on 2 years now. Love it. Loved every minute of it. Terrific. Wonderful.
So getting the hype up here after the trailer, let's talk a little bit about Iron Valor, Daniel. Tell us about the epic proportions of this hack and slash stabby stab show we're about to launch.
Iron Valor. So Iron Valor is a very unique Dungeons and Dragons show, and I almost hesitate to even call it Dungeons and Dragons. Because it's definitely a tabletop RPG, but it's certainly not anything that you would expect or see out on the market today. It is
on the market.
Yeah, on the market in the
like
community.
It's on a shelf.
Yeah, and it's not something that you necessarily play in a home game or anything like that. Iron Valor is a gladiatorial arena. It is a combat-focused show that has some elements of PvP, and it is a showcase of the mechanical class and combat system that 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons has. And I think it is a wonderful opportunity to get out there, and it's a wonderful opportunity to show everyone, all the unique builds you can make with Dungeons and Dragons, all the multi-classing stuff. It's a great educational experience if you're not great at making characters, or the system confuses you or it's overwhelming. To see how some unique combinations can get added together is a super fun thing that I have, and I think it's one of the most important pieces of Iron Valor. But it's also competitive. It is, at the end of it, there's a 3-on-3 battle, and we'll get to that more in a little bit. But yeah, that's kind of what Iron Valor is. It's a lot of combat. It is a lot of really, really cool, kind of almost like a League of Legends is kind of the way I think about the show.
And the audience will get to interact during that show.
Oh yeah, we'll get there. Yeah, that's
my
later.
most excited part, or that's my most excited part.
That's
most
what
exciting I'm most
thing.
Excited about.
Yes.
So what makes this show so unique, do you think? Like the most unique thing?
Yeah, so the problem with player versus player in tabletop RPGs is that inherently role-playing games are cooperative, and this is competitive. And from that standpoint, it does kind of go against the very nature of what D&D is. So what we've done is we've made a lot of the show and changed it up significantly, so that it inputs some of those more cooperative elements together while also still maintaining that PvP status. So the game is broken down into 3 phases. You get the first phase, which is actually what you would see in a normal combat, is all the players who are currently participating fighting together against some strong monster. It could be dragons, it could be beholders, it could be a set of winter wolves, it's demons from the 9 hells. In one of our test plays we did Zariel, and it is...
Yeah, that was a fun one to watch.
They're just fun to watch, and you get to create these whiteboard scenarios where you can fight monsters that maybe you never had the opportunity to.
Yeah, because most campaigns, like, you get through a couple weeks, and then sometimes your group kind of breaks apart, and
oftentimes
Sorry.
So as I was saying,
our camera decided to turn off.
Isn't that crazy? It'll probably happen again, but we'll fix that as we go.
First episode, right?
Yes. So you get to create these whiteboard scenarios where you fight demons and devils and things that you would never get the opportunity to. Because often in Dungeons & Dragons, it's not the best idea to go fight the dragon in its lair. That's never what you do. Why would you ever do that? You're going to die. So if you get the opportunity to fight an ancient red dragon, you can use this chance to really try out your skills and have some heroic moments. Or if you're trying to find, every time you talk about liches, the stories seem to always be around finding the phylactery, but not actually the fight itself. And that's what we're trying to achieve here. We're trying to showcase all the entire monster manual and the breadth of it, and we're going to show you things in Iron Valor that you never really get to see, or if you haven't had the opportunity to play against these creatures, you can see something that's interesting and fun and see what players do and specific type of builds for it. The second phase is an auction, and this is what I want to talk about with why this is so unique and why we need you guys to actually play this game. Because
or to interact with this
game.
To
interact with this game. So when you join in to Iron Valor and you tune in, you're going to have the opportunity to give the players at the table Iron Valor coins, effectively gold pieces, for their performance. So if someone has a particularly descriptive weapon attack, or they roll a natural 20 or do something very clever with a spell and you enjoy it, you're going to be able to buy that player gold pieces. That player is
for the auction.
For the auction. And during the auction, we're going to showcase all the wondrous and unique items, magic items that D&D has. And players are going to be able to bid and buy and utilize those in phase 3. So it's very important that if you're interested and you want your players to exceed your favorite people at the table, then you get in there and you give your favorite player your gold pieces. It's kind of like a tip for doing well. And so with that knowledge and with those boosts, they're going to go into what we call phase 3. Now, phase 3 is where we break down the players into 3 individual groups of 3, and then they will begin to try and basically kill each other. Which PvP is not something you necessarily see in Dungeons & Dragons. So we made some rule alterations to make it fair. During playtesting, we found...
that was going to be my next question, is how Dungeons & Dragons isn't built for PvP.
Yeah, it's really not. And most of the Iron Valor show will be that cooperative. It'll be the auction. It'll be all those unique things that we see. But when you get to fight each other, there's some things that make... There are certain classes and certain casters and things like that. They're just so much better than everyone else. And I'm sorry to all of the martial people out there who love this sort of thing. But the game is not built for them to fight each other. So we made a few rule alterations and we made some cool changes. So we'll be putting the rule set out on Patreon as a free post. So if you're seeing this, you can go over to our Patreon on the day Iron Valor launches, and you'll be able to see the rule set, the official rules for Iron Valor. And if you wanted to play this at your own home, you certainly could, because it's really more a new game than it is 5th edition. It's using the 5th edition skeleton, but I would not say that it is 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons.
Yeah, but it's something that you could definitely incorporate in your 5e.
Oh yeah,
campaign.
For sure.
If you wanted to go to an arena and,
Absolutely. If you were going to go to Iron Valor, the arena in your game, it could exist in any major city that you had. And you could have a session where you played a round of Iron Valor.
You just use the temporary rule set.
Yeah. And it's a fun little mini game and something that you can do. So, and we do intend to have guest players. So we have our 4 primary characters who play in this game, but we're going to have people rotating in and out. So you're going to see a lot of people come in, a lot of diversity, a lot of people within the community come in and enjoy the game that we love so much, and get some unique insights on how other people build characters and how they play the game. And maybe that'll be something that helps grow the community and gets people away from just min-maxing their characters and I just hit them with my sword. And hopefully it'll be a shining example of how combat should be played in 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons. So that's what we hope. We'll see. That's just the goal. So all right. So the other thing that we've had a lot of conversations about, a lot of questions about, is our live play show.
Yes, we actually had a couple people send us private messages on Instagram and like, when is the live play? Are you going to do a live play? And
yes, we've been playing D&D for years now, and we've never actually put it on a stream. But Lauren is going to dungeon master a campaign for us.
I'm gonna DM.
So tell us a little bit about Fate's End, what it is, how it works. You know, what are, just tell us about it, like the themes and whatever we've got.
So Fate's End, the entire theme inspiration is fate, obviously, but just to kind of give you like some background on our players a little bit and how this theme came to be. I wanted to do something with tarot cards, and I know tarot cards are very popular, but I wanted to incorporate tarot cards in a way that was very personable or personal to each player, because there's so much richness in each card and what each card means. And so essentially what I'm doing for my characters and in this game, I sent my players a message and I said, pick a number between, I'm probably going to say the wrong end number, but I believe the face cards, it's 0 to 23.
Yeah, I think it was 0 to 23.
And I said pick a number. And they all picked one. And they selected a card that essentially sealed their fate. The creepy thing is, I had done the prologues with all these characters already, and it's very creepy how close the card they chose lines up with the backstory. Like it gave me chills after.
Can you give us an example of that, just real quick, for the people we have here?
What do you mean?
Like, can you give an example of how maybe my card pertained to my backstory? I mean, just for the people we've got here. Or some ones, if there's a particular one that you think is interesting.
I don't want to give away too much. Because I know some of our players are watching and listening, and I don't want to spoil anything for them, because they don't know what card they chose. That's something I need to point out here. Is I told them to pick, and they picked a number. I didn't tell them what card they chose. They have no clue, and I just responded, "Your fate is sealed." But we're gonna have a cast reacts video. And we're going to play it for them, and during that cast reacts video, they're going to see the card that they chose for the first time.
Yes, and
so nobody knows what they chose.
Yeah, so we'll be launching that on Fate's End. So we may have we'll probably record a video and then play that for you guys, so that you can watch the cast of Fate's End react to their individual cards.
But the theme itself, back to the original question, it's very butterfly effect. Just all of the decisions, of course, that your players make in any campaign matter throughout, but I really want to create these threads of fate that intertwine with other things, and bringing things back up from the very beginning that was always there, that they had forgotten about, but it has always been a main key factor to those players. So very, very fate based, of course, very heavy role play, not as much combat, the very, very polar opposite of Iron Valor.
Completely opposite.
Yeah. Very heavy role play. Very. I imagine this game is going to be very emotional with comedic relief. Like we have players that we've selected and cast members, players, whatever you want to call them, that are there for comic relief. They just have that butterfly personality that makes everyone laugh. So with comic relief elements, very serious emotional elements. So. Very fate-based. The stars being aligned.
Sure will. What setting are we playing this in?
So we are playing this in our Auroria campaign, or our Auroria setting that we've used in our previous Auroria campaigns that we've run at home. So we'll be visiting places like Sable, the desert city under the sand, and we'll be visiting places like Dawn's Rise, a lot of unique places.
Yeah, if you've been following us along on Instagram and you see the Genesis series that we put out, all those locations that we're putting out onto the Patreon exist within the world of Aurora. It is our homebrew campaign setting. It's something Laura and I have worked together on for the last 2 years or so. If you played in a game with us, you played in that homebrew setting. it's a fantasy world like any other. It's very high magic. It's closest, probably in magic scale, to something like Eberron. Uniquely speaking, Aurora is a place where um, the world is very much almost like at peace most of the time. It's not a war torn area. You're not going to see a lot of that sort of thing. It's a high magic place where people prosper more often than they don't. Specifically, what helps with this is there's a unique material that exists in Aurora called Meridium, and the trade of which is highly regulated, and it's a portion of what is so. It's a big piece of the black market as well, but highly regulated, highly taken care of. But it makes people's lives so much easier, and we'll showcase that as well as we run into Aurora. But very, very high magic. You'll see a lot of that stuff. For instance, I'm playing a druid warlock when that comes out, so it is a super fun thing. So speaking of players, do you want to tell everybody who's on this show?
Yeah, let me just mention some names here. But of course, I'm going to be DMing. Daniel is going to be a player in our game. He's going to be a player. We have Amelia Enix, Davis Walker, Raina McGuire, Danny Dewar, Brandon Hatcher. They're all our cast members that are going to be a part of this show. Well, I said you. I said you.
So there'll be 6 of us on this show, and then also Lauren will be added into that as our DM. And so we're hoping to get some. We may have those people on.
Yes, they're going to be on short rest. We're going to be bringing them on. You'll meet them, after we launch.
Yes. Yeah, after we launch. So speaking of that, when does Fate's End launch?
Yes, so Fate's End launches Monday, September 7th. 7:30 Central and 5:30 Pacific.
Yeah.
Pacific time.
Monday, September 7th, 7:30 Central, 5:30 Pacific.
Oh, I didn't say it.
And then I didn't mention it and I forgot, but Iron Valor launches Wednesday.
Yeah,
the 12th.
The coming Wednesday.
Wednesday the 12th.
Yes.
At 7:30 Central, 5:30 Pacific. So, or 8:30, 5:30 Pacific. But both those time slots will start at 7:30. Both shows will run somewhere between 3 to 4 hours, and then you'll have this short rest show, which is about an hour long, or however long our camera stays on. One of those two. But those that's what you could expect from both these shows. So, I think. Oh, we had one other thing you wanted to mention. The other show.
Oh, we'll just tease it a little bit because we were talking and I think we want to bring our DM for that show on, and we want to have him explain all of the details for that. But what we're going to tell you about it is it's going to be a Malifaux campaign.
Yes, we're not exclusively Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition people here.
And I think that's an important thing to note, is that we're not just going to do exclusive D&D.
Yeah, and so Malifaux is a really cool little setting. I think it's based out of Georgia. The creators are Weird Games, and so we want to make sure we showcase people and other systems outside of 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons. So there's another show in the works. I don't have a lot of details. I don't know where they are.
Yeah, I know more than he does. But
I don't have a lot of details, and we're not ready to announce them. But the show is coming, and it will be there eventually.
That is what this is right here. This will be revealed to you all very, very soon. But it is going to be Malifaux. It's very dark, very, very steampunk-esque. A lot of creepy elements. It's going to be very exciting. We're gonna have the DM on our show, and he's going to give us the whole reveal without spoilers, of course.
But we'll get to that when we know more about the show. So. All right, so that tells us a little bit about all these shows. If you have any questions, go ahead and get them in the chat now.
Yes.
I've got a few on the docket, but we're going to take a short break, like no more than like 2 or 3 minutes, just to organize those for ourselves. And then we'll be right back. And
yeah, so go ahead and send us questions.
So go ahead and add those to the chat, and we'll jot those down and get us going. So be right back.
Just like that. It's like we were never gone.
Never gone. Here. All right. So I want to thank you guys all for adding your questions to chat. So we're going to try to answer those.
Do I need to do the mailbag voice?
Yes, obviously.
Only if everyone wants me to do the mailbag voice.
There's no one who doesn't want you to do the mailbag. You have to.
It's time for mailbag. Mailbag. I think I broke everybody's hearing drum, or
perhaps
their ears are broken now.
But that's okay. That's okay. So, all right. So I'm gonna run through this chat. We got some of these questions in. We've, I guess, scanned them.
asked a great question.
That's true.
And I forgot to mention about Babe then.
All right.
I'll let you.
Yeah, so I'll start. So question 1 comes from Amila Bean. will you upload the streams to YouTube?
Yes. Yes. All the streams will be on YouTube. Yes. So yes. All of this. Oh yeah. All of our. That includes Short Rest and Fate's End and Iron Valor and the the extra mysterious campaign that we'll be playing as well.
Yes, everything will be uploaded to YouTube. That's a very interesting question. So everything's going to be archived. We're going to take, I think it's a week or two behind, so that it takes a little bit of time. You can see recordings of this show and others here on Twitch. So if you can't be here with us live, you can always come to the Twitch channel if it's within. I think there's a certain time frame. You can come here and watch the show. If it's not on here, or you miss one, or you go on vacation, or life gets busy, you'll be able to find them on our YouTube channel, which is also Ink and Lyre TV. If you are a patron, you're going to get the shows immediately uploaded to Patreon. So hopefully, as we move into this and we get affiliations and all that kind of fun stuff, you can always subscribe here if you want to support the show, but you're also going to get those VODs on Patreon as well. So if you are a patron, don't worry, you're going to be able to get access to those and follow us live. So you can find us really kind of anywhere. So that's good.
Yep.
Let's see. Follow up to the YouTube question is from DapperGent13. Will any of these be in podcast form?
Yes. Yes.
Also yes.
Yes, we're actually gonna have a separate podcast and a link for each of those for each show, and we will be doing the same thing there. We'll be releasing an audio version that everyone can listen to as well.
So this is the Ink and Lyre Podcast Network, where you'll be able to find Ink and Lyre Podcast Network, where you'll be able to find Short Rest, Iron Valor, and Fate's End, and of course any additional shows that we have as well. You'll be able to find those there as well.
Yes. Yes.
I love podcasts. I'm a big podcast person.
Daniel lives off of them.
Huge
he loves podcasts.
I did the whole first campaign one all on podcast form. You know, where I work, I get a lot of time where I can do that, and it's just such a great opportunity. So you can expect to get a lot of that. We're going to be using some visual aids when we do the shows, but you will get a lot of the theater of the mind stuff. Like specifically, like when you're traveling and doing explorations, we may have some maps, but in our style and the way we play, you're gonna get a lot of that. So if you need to or have to, you can always go get it on podcast too. So that'll be fun.
We will provide all the medias for you, so that you can enjoy it in whatever form you like.
That's true. We want you to be on there. Let's see. Let's see. We're on YouTube. We're in podcast. Oh, I have two questions that I want to get to from Instagram before we get started. The first one was simply from Spell Component, which was
boy Luke.
Yes, Luke. Hope you're here. Not baby Luke, a different Luke. When is the live play coming? And like we said, that's September the 7th. You'll want to tune into that at 7:30. So we'll be having some more information on that as we get to it. And then this is a fun one, and I want to make sure, let's take some time with this. John Kilo 35 asked, what's on the table for discussion during the stream? So when we talk about what we're going to be here on Short Rest doing, what sorts of things are okay to talk about and what sorts of things are not, necessarily. So what are we looking for from a discussion standpoint from our audience?
On Short Rest, right?
On Short Rest.
On Short Rest?
Short Rest.
What would be appropriate, I guess? Dungeons and Dragons content, of course.
For sure. So Dungeons and Dragons content. We want to hear about your characters.
You can
so
add.
if you want to add to something, like if you saw Iron Valor and you have a really cool character concept, we want to talk through that with you.
Or maybe there's a monster you really want to see our cast fight. Sure. I'm sure Tiamat is going to be one of those because a lot of players don't get to level 20, and I'm sure there are a lot of big bad creatures out there that you all want to see people fight. I would like to see them fight Tiamat, honestly. I've heard so many things about Tiamat. It's like a meme, and I would love to see them fight Tiamat.
It's true. No one ever actually fights Tiamat in the game, but we very well could do that on Iron Valor. One thing that I really like talking about is mistakes. Especially from a DM standpoint, from a player standpoint, from a character creation area, and we want to hear those about ourselves. Like, what mistakes did we make, like in Iron Valor or in Fate's End?
But be nice about it.
Yeah, if you've heard the Ink and Lyre podcast, we will often say things like, this happened, and it just didn't work for whatever reason it may be. And this was during the Aurora campaign that I was running. And often I would try to do things, and sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. If they worked, we told you about all those, and that happened more often than not. But we really like to take some time to examine why. We like to take some time to talk about why it didn't work in the moment, why it didn't work afterwards, where was the miscommunication, because we believe that those things make everyone better.
Yeah, and we're not perfect, and we're not trying to project ourselves as perfect either. So
no one expects us to be,
and no DM is.
No, and so if you have moments in your game that maybe aren't going well, in the mailbag, just ask us.
Yeah.
We'll be happy to give you our insights. It's part of what we want to do here. And we want to make sure that if there's something that's not going right in your game, or you want to talk about it, we want to be here for you. That's part of what we do here. So thank you to John for asking that question.
Thank you, John.
Yeah. And of course, we definitely want to steer clear from anything that's overly excessively critical. Like, it's one thing to dislike, or if something didn't work, not the way that you intended, at least, that's one thing. But to not like someone's just idea is not really something that we're trying to get at. It's like, you want to avoid things. They're like, oh, that's just stupid, or that's just silly, or why would you even try that? Because we're all trying to have fun, and we're all trying to do our best. So we want to avoid that sort of thing in the chat as well. And then, of course, the rules are available on our Discord as well for things that are on and off limits in the chat. So you can see those over there as well. Question for you, Lauren. This comes from Heloti. I think that's right. Heloidy?
That's what it looks like to me.
Is Lauren going to be doing more cool character art?
I'm so glad that you asked this, because I actually forgot to mention for Fate's End. So the character, so all of our characters picked a card, right? So for Fate's End, I am drawing each and every single character as the tarot card they drew. Full body tarot card that will flip over and be revealed in the introduction for each character. And I'm very critical of myself, and I'm very hard on my artwork, and there are very few things that I'm proud of, and I am very excited, and I'm very proud of these portraits that I've done. It's my favorite piece of work that I've ever done, without a doubt. And I'm very excited to show everyone, because I've been working my butt up on them. I have one more portrait left to do, and well, actually two, mine and one other player, because I will also be depicted as a card. And I can actually tell you guys, I will either be, I haven't decided yet, I'm either going to be depicted as Justice or Judgment. And you guys can, if you guys have an opinion on that, you can definitely put that in the chat as well, if you think I should be Judgment or Justice. I'm leaning towards Justice right now, just because the descriptions I've read on Justice it are like balance, fairness, whereas Judgment is more...
Everyone disagrees with you.
Everyone disagrees with me?
Everyone disagrees.
They do. They all say Judgment.
Like, it's just like, let's go like right here, like everyone disliked that. Like real quick.
I mean, everyone said, yeah, you're right. Everyone's saying Judgment.
Everyone said Judgment. There are no Justice people. Because DMing is not about justice. It's about judgment.
It's about fairness, right? No.
It's not about being fair.
Well,
Anyone judges Oh,
He who
goodness.
kills the character must swing the sword. Yes, very, very appropriate. Thank you, Sean Bean.
Ned Stark up in here. Okay. Yes, absolutely. So, will this is again from Dapper Gent? Will Iron Valor have a reoccurring king, emperor, or blood god who must be pleased during the fights? That is all of you, all of our audience members. You are the kings and emperors and blood gods of Ink and Lyre, and we are trying our best to please you in everything that you are. It is an interesting question. I have thought long and hard about some sort of recurring theme inside Iron Valor, because while it is mostly a game and mostly a competitive thing, I have thought that it might be interesting to introduce some sort of small story element, something going wrong along in the background while all this is happening. And if I decide and think that I can do that from a writing standpoint, then I might try. But all of you hopefully are recurring audience members who will be pleased.
It'd be interesting to see if you guys role played chat during Iron Valor. It's like, all right, toss a coin to the man with the silly hat. I like him.
That would be good. But you should be able to. The way we're planning to set it up is while you're watching the stream, we'll have I think it's a Streamlabs store or something like that.
Yeah.
So there's a store you can go on as you're watching. You're going to gain coins, and then
you'll
you're going to be able
gain
to
Valor tokens as you watch, and you'll be able to turn those Valor tokens in to support one of the players.
Any of the 6 characters. You're going to be able to go to our store right there in chat. Just redeem Brandon, redeem Dylan, redeem Davis, redeem Raina, redeem whomever. And you'll be able to give them coins live on stream. We'll tally all those up, name our most valuable adventurer, and go from there. So it should be really, really cool. The longer you watch, the more coins you get, the bigger influence.
You earn coins from watching. Simple as that.
The larger influence you're going to be able to have on the auction, and therefore phase 3 in the final battle. So that's always super fun. Bionic Wolf asks, how did you decide to do the stats for Fates? Standard roll, array, point buy. How did we do our stats?
We did standard roll, I believe, or we do something a little different, don't we?
We did.
It's like standard roll.
Yeah, we did 4d6, drop the lowest.
Yes.
But in addition to that, we did 4d6, drop the lowest 7 times, and then we also dropped the lowest overall score. It is a very, very lenient way to roll up characters. And we do that for a reason. Like, me personally as a DM, and Lauren is the same way, we like to have epic, difficult, and challenging encounters and campaigns. And I personally have never liked the idea of rolling up a character and then they die because I had bad stats, or I just never had that opportunity. So the end result,
you're the one sad little person who has like the worst stats out of everyone.
Yeah, Davis, and
Davis,
and so the characters that we roll up with are going to be a little bit higher from an ability score standpoint. Yeah, poor Davis. But at the end, most of the Fate's End isn't ability score based at all. The games I played in with Lauren have, oh goodness, we played a campaign and we didn't fight anything for 6 weeks.
Okay, that's an exaggeration.
It was like 4.
It was like 3 sessions.
But here's the thing, that's okay.
That's what Fate's End is. It's not, like I said, it's not combat heavy. It's very role play heavy. And I think you guys haven't had the chance to see our cast members, and I think they're a very special group of people, and they're very talented. I'm excited to see. Some of them haven't interacted as much together as the others, and but they kind of like feed off each other they're the type of people that feed off each other. So I'm very excited to see how they interact that heavily with the characters that they chosen, because a lot of these people that we have chosen to have in our cast, it's easy for them to step outside of themselves. We have some professionals in our cast as well who actually are theater majors, who are able to step outside of themselves, or theater graduates, I'm sorry, graduates now. I apologize, those of you out there who are listening, who I'm referring to, graduates, professionals who are professional actors and professional voice actors, and they're able to step outside themselves and be a different person. Back to what I was saying before I completely messed that up.
we don't expect for a lot. For the ability scores to really change the game. It'll be about that role play, and the two shows are really polar opposites. So you'll be able to see the ability scores. They'll come out, and you'll see how poorly Davis rolled and how well Raina did.
Actually, they can look right now.
You can?
Yeah.
Ooh.
I mean, they're preliminary. We haven't added their portraits, like I said, to their character sheets because they don't know what their cards look like. But like, if there's an overlay button.
Let's save it. We'll save it.
There's an overlay button on Twitch right now, and you can actually look if you wanted to.
Hilotai, ask again. Hiloidi, ask again. Is there a particular monster Daniel is jazzed to see the players in Valor, to die, or to die to, or I mean to fight,
to murder?
Yeah, to murder with. This is a great question, and the answer is all of them.
Oh, come on, you gotta pick one.
Yeah, so
at least one.
I'm really excited. I've always loved running Beholders, and
classic.
Yeah, I love running Beholders as a DM, so I'm looking forward to launching those and playing with some of those. I have some homebrew stuff that I want to try out. So not everything will be 5th edition. Like, I'll be doing some homebrew stuff. I have some characters and monsters, and you've seen, if you're following us on Patreon or supporting us there, you might have seen some of our encounters have some homebrew monsters that I made. I'll be very interested to see those. But we plan to have characters play at all levels. So there'll be some games we play with 6th level characters. Some will be played with 11th. I plan to have every now and then a 20th level fight. And so you'll see characters at all skill levels and all sorts of monsters. So when we come out with that 6 20th level characters, it'll be, creatures like Tiamat. So I would say that's really kind of where I'm at.
Tiamat.
Yeah, and I think I'm really, I guess I'm most interested in using and playing with some of the legendary creatures that are adventure specific. So like Strahd and Tiamat and Zariel, these characters and NPCs that exist in the modules that maybe you fight one time at the end, or maybe you never get to fight them at any point, or characters that you weren't intended to fight, they just have a stat block. I'm interested to see how those kind of players get into the game, and see how they could do. So
I want to share a creature that I'm really excited about.
Sure.
Like, that I would like to see somebody fight, and I can't remember the name.
Okay, you look that up real quick. I'll go on to the next question. Let's see. Can children be used as weapons in Iron Valor? Anything is a weapon if you swing it hard enough. Which is really kind of messed up. But accurate.
That is it.
Let's see.
An oblex, an oblex.
Oblex.
An oblex. So this was actually, if I'm not mistaken, yes, there was a boy from the Make-A-Wish Foundation who came up with this. If you guys don't know what it is and have never seen it, holy moly.
What is that?
It is like absolutely horrifying.
I don't want nightmares. I'm not putting that in Iron Valor.
We were not going to put it in Iron Valor.
Okay, great. It won't show up anywhere. Let's hope. Let's see. What are the classes for characters in Fated or Fate's End? Are players going to introduce their characters on stream? I don't think we want to reveal that. I don't think we want to reveal the character classes yet.
Well, they can look at them
On what?
on the overlay if they
No,
wanted to.
there's let's not.
There is a button. It's fine.
Okay, so go ahead, answer the question.
I
guess we could tell the classes.
It's just classes, yeah.
Okay, let's tell the classes. Here's the classes. Lauren? I'm playing a druid to start with, a couple levels, and then going out from there.
And then we have an artificer. We have a bard.
Artificer, bard, druid.
We have a barbarian.
We
have a rogue.
No one's seen him yet.
Who am I missing? Oh, and we have a cleric.
And a cleric.
It's a pretty balanced group.
Yes. So barbarian, artificer, druid, cleric, bard.
You missing someone?
I'm missing one.
Rogue. And right. Yes, they are going to introduce themselves on stream. Yes, we'll have a nice big introduction phase and all that, all that delicious goodness.
Do we get to see the session 0?
I'm guessing that might be referring to the prologues.
It probably is, but what's the answer to both is no. Because we've already done the prologues.
Yeah, we already did the prologues.
And
they were all
tell us a little bit about that process. How did you do the prologue?
So the prologue, I sat down with each character. They told me the kind of character that they wanted. And what I ended up doing is it starts off as like a Q&A where I ask them like, okay, who's your mother? What relationships do you have? Like, are they good relationships? And they answer, it's just this Q&A of like me trying to find out information about their character. And then I come up with things based on their answers. So I don't want to like give away anybody's backstory or anything, but like if a player has a bad relationship with their father, I want them to tell me why. And then we stream together this backstory as to why their character has a bad relationship with their father and how they got to that point and like where's their father now. And so I ask them all these questions, and then we weave together, I weave together with them a roleplay chat prologue of this kind of story they go through. And it could be it's always some kind of big experience, whether that be a traumatic experience or something crazy happens where that never happens, or like, blood moons are rising and something happens to their village or what have you. It could be anything. And then they play through that, and that really solidifies them to their character. They feel the emotions that they're feeling. They experience who their character is, and they find themselves as that character in the prologue. And that's why it's so important, and that's why I do it that way. So it kind of like solidifies them and helps them understand their character better, but also helps us weave that backstory better as well.
Well said.
The session 0 that we had was much more technical, like outlining, rule sets and homebrew stuff, and so our session 0s are more technical, whereas the prologue is more narrative and role play based.
So when you tune in to Fate's End for the first time on the 7th, what you will see our characters meeting for the first time. So to my knowledge, and there might be a few that have already met, but you'll see characters meet each other for the first time during the first episode, and it should be a very interesting thing to see. And that'll probably be the majority of the episode, but hopefully we'll begin some sort of adventure arc as well. But expect a lot of role play and a lot of character interaction in that first one.
Yeah, that first session is going to be very, very heavy role play, obviously. Introducing each other, the characters getting to know each other. It's going to be a lot of fun.
All right, we're just going past 9 o'clock here, so we don't want to go too much longer, but let's get these last ones in quick fire. Let's see. Can you make Lauren drink whiskey? You like whiskey, okay, don't you?
I have drank whiskey straight before.
I love whiskey. Lauren is okay, right?
I like yeah.
But first of all, I can't make Lauren do anything.
I would rather drink gin by itself than whiskey.
Yeah.
I'm that weird person.
I think,
And I know a lot of people don't like gin.
That's a travesty, first of all, because whiskey's amazing.
But I love Ryan Reynolds Aviation gin. That's my favorite. Not a sponsor, but believe it or not, Ryan Reynolds isn't the sponsor. But
What? He doesn't sponsor this shit? That's crazy. Anyway, love this one, Bionic Wolf. Can you do a community vote homebrew for the Iron Valor monster?
It's an interesting idea.
Love it. It's great. We're gonna add it in. It's perfect, for sure. So I don't know how we'll do that yet, but like as we come up with the homebrew.
Yeah. We gotta fix the bot and we gotta fix the camera.
So as we get into that, we may even be able to take like some of your homebrew characters. But yes, for sure. I love this idea of the community and trying to see what people want to see and putting that out for them. So love that. Want to do that. Absolutely. Who's the big bad in the first chapter of Lauren's campaign?
Who's asking that?
Dapper Gent 13.
You really think I'm gonna tell you that? You think I'm gonna? No. No.
Of course not. And then last question, and I think this is the most appropriate one of the evening, from Prince Kermy. What is your favorite brand of whiskey?
My favorite brand of whiskey? Lagavulin.
The Ron Swanson.
The Ron Swanson whiskey.
To be fair, the Lagavulin is delicious, and we have some on our counter right now. And I've had it for like almost like 3 or 4 months now.
I can't remember why you bought it, but it was a special occasion. But like you don't just drink.
I bought it. I think I bought it for some reason. We were celebrating something, and I got it.
Something.
I don't remember what it was, but
it doesn't matter. Anyways,
I don't remember because we were drinking Lagavulin. No, I bought that. It is really good. If I enjoy something called 40 Creek, it's a whiskey that is based out of New York, over where Niagara Falls is, and they take water directly pulled from the stream of Niagara Falls to distill all the whiskey they make, and I think it's fantabulous, and highly recommend it to anyone who might be interested.
I think I've tried all the whiskey you buy, so.
Yes, Wolf. I think that's our show. I think that's all I've got for us here. We will be back next week, same time, 8 o'clock on the dot Central Time. You can see us here. We'll be talking about Iron Valor and everything else that we have going on. So we will let all of you go. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for joining us for our first stream.
It is. This is so exciting. We're so thankful. It's been a long time coming. We've been working on this for months.
We have been working our butts off. You don't even know.
It's true. And the best is yet to come. So thank you all so much for tuning in. And we'll see y'all next time.
We will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.